The experiment seems to show that two brains in separate locations can share a single experience.
Human thoughts are not non-physical. They are physical units of action potentials from the nerve itself. Can they be transmitted across space? Under certain conditions, absolutely, and there's evidence for it.
This scientist thinks he's discovered a new and surprising aspect of consciousness. He believes it does not simply exist within our minds, but extends outward as well. And he claims he has the evidence to prove it. What is a thought? Neuroscientists would say it's just a pattern of electrical activity inside our brains. But if I scowl or smile, my thoughts can cross a room. In fact, they're reaching out to touch you right now. Some scientists believe this is how the sixth sense works, that human thoughts merge into a collective consciousness that spans the globe. Roger Nelson has spent the past 30 years looking for evidence of a global mind.
Consciousness lives in the real world. The touch is very light, but to the degree that it's a real touch, it's extremely important. Most people don't believe this is possible. The research shows that it is possible.
In the mid-1980s, Roger began investigating a strange phenomenon that had been reported by several other researchers. They had noticed that the readouts of electronic devices called random number generators could be affected by people sitting next to them, if those people focused their thoughts on them.
In the course of a long series of experiments over years, we found that people could change the behavior of these random number generators very slightly, but significantly.
Random number generators are electronic coin tosses. Instead of heads or tails, they throw ones or zeros. Their results are supposed to be totally random. Roger reasoned that if one person sitting close by could alter their readouts, then perhaps the massed thoughts of entire cities could do the same. Could random number generators placed around the world be used to track the minds of millions of individuals?
What we have done is set up a scientific experiment with a fairly simple hypothesis. The idea is when large numbers of people share a consciousness state, especially emotional, then our network will show deviations from randomness.
By the late 1990s, Roger had persuaded several colleagues across the globe to collect random number data in their labs. The Global Consciousness Project was born.
This is a map that shows where the Global Consciousness Project has installations all around the world. That's Hawaii there, Australia, New Zealand, lots of them in Europe. There's a random event generator or a random number generator attached to a computer at each of those places. Oh my God, another one. This is unusual to see so many large deviations in such a short time.
Every time there is a major global event, Roger checks to see if his network deviates from normal. And many times it does. Some of the strongest changes took place during the presidential elections of 2008.
When the polls closed, the media were saying, looks like Obama has won. This graph shows the data from the time the polls closed for the next 5 hours. In the middle of that is Obama's victory speech.
We have never been just a collection of individuals. We are and always will be the United States of America.
This is a strong trend. It just goes straight up this incline. It's like 1,001 odds that we should have that accumulation of positive effects in a data set this size. We have more than 340 independent experiments. When we put all the data together from 12 years of these experiments, the bottom line result has odds against chance of 1 billion to 1.